on the cracking wall. Grateful from a one-man rush. He wipes his brow like he served them all. Grease on his apron, smoke on his breath. He hums along to the rusted fan. Waves to the traffic, calls it a crowd, says busy again. What a life I ran. He's again. Well, there you go, folks. Good morning, como está, Bohol, and welcome wherever you are. We have graciously got Michael from the Garden of Kent in the UK has come out of bed at 3:15 a.m. in the morning over there just to monitor the chat for me. So big shout out for Michael. Thank you so much. I mean, that's what you call a very dedicated and wonderful channel supporter to get up at that kind of the morning to listen to me rave on. We have Ernesto Ruiz from the northern part of America who's come in today with some very interesting facts and figures, and we'll introduce and let Ernesto speak on that in a minute. Now, today's Sunday, so let's have a quick roundup of some of the rubbish that we've been subjected to in Chef Carno's reports. First off, T-shirt of the day, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, is another 3D Temu. This one's green. This is the first time I've worn this one, so it looks 3D. Quite a nice T-shirt. Clean and sweet smelling. And I wasn't going to have a drop of the day, but then I had a big lunch, so I thought, well, okay, it's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I can have a beer. So my home brew, as you see, ladies and gentlemen, it's really coming out nicely. Thank you very much. This is a bottle. This is the 15th bottle out of the second brew that I made, and I'll be putting down another one this afternoon after the live stream. And I'll be using glass bottles for that experiment next time, so to get more carbonation. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, getting straight into it, I've actually been amazed at how Chef Carno can actually go on the internet and sit there and straight-faced talk utter bullshit to his channel. And I will point out a couple of the statements that he's made and the stories that he said. I just can't believe it. Mick, how you going? Listening in the background, doing the garden so I can go for a beer later. Good on you, Mick. That's great. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Mick up in Manila, ladies and gentlemen, a Wandering Brit channel. Go and have a good look. He's got a great channel. So let's start with this video, the restaurant update for 21st of the 4th, 26. The only thing I can say was at least he was there. At least he was there on the premises on the 21st of this month, because the rest of the time he just hasn't bothered. So he's going through this menu. He's put carrot cake on the menu. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you right now, what a complete and utter waste of time that is. I don't think there's a Filipino on the planet that eats carrot cake or would know what it was, let alone with white frosting on it. I mean, anyway, but no more mention of selling 25 pizzas a day. Even though he panned to the menu, there was a big thing on the other side with all the pizza, but not a mention. So what happened to the pizzas? Well, not a mention of them, same as not a mention of the donuts. But at least he was there for 5 minutes. At least he was there for 5 minutes. In the whole video, again, we saw 2 people on the premises. But did we see the people buy anything and pay for anything? No. But hey, this place is always full. It is not. And he is not the king of the empty tables. This place is always full, ladies and gentlemen. Customers everywhere. But just never at any time he's making a video while he's at the place. The customers that are always there are not on video because for whatever reason. You know what I mean? So I find that kind of weird, ladies and gentlemen. But we never saw any food being eaten at the table. We never saw any payments taken, by these 2 people that were probably God knows whose friend out the back. Now, you know what got me? The 3 in the kitchen, the 2 guys and the woman in the kitchen didn't want a bar of it. He goes in there with the camera and he's asking these questions. They just stand there and they're just basically refusing to look at the camera and to talk to him to answer his questions. They didn't want to know. And he's pushing them. Oh, you know, what's the best thing about working in the kitchen? And the woman just looks at him. You know, and he says to Ebel, what's the best thing about working here and working in the kitchen? They just completely, utterly, and totally don't want to know, want nothing to do with the fool. And he doesn't realise how stupid he looks trying to push them into making statements that they don't want to make. Or maybe they just can't stand the fact that he's too close to them and his BO stinks and his cigarette breath is putting them off. Maybe that's why they don't want to talk to him. I don't know. So the three in the kitchen, they're totally unwilling to be on the camera or answer his dopey questions. The biggest businessman on Bohol, his main concern was a malfunctioning can of whipped cream. Who cares? Who cares? That was his biggest thing about the whole restaurant today, was he bought a can of whipped cream and it didn't work properly. Who gives a shit? A can of whipped cream. I mean, is that video content, ladies and gentlemen? I guess you can discuss the massive financial loss with Bruce and the huge financial minds on his next idiot live stream, because they're all financial geniuses. You know, today's live stream was also, what do you call it, ladies and gentlemen? It's just getting so sad in such a lack of content. Tony, how you going? Good to see you. It's just getting so sad and such a lack of content. He's even driving his own viewers away by talking on subjects that none of them know anything about. It's just getting totally ridiculous. So anyway, listen. Past Wednesday, he ignored his main man, Stacey, and he finally got the hint and finally left, dropped out, while Chef Carno, Bruce and one other talked about garbage for 2 hours on topics that were over everybody's head. Now, again, today, they're talking about stuff that, they're talking about industrial stuff that, you know, you'd have to be basically some sort of, you'd have to be interested in the topic to start with, and you'd have to be very clued up in engineering, technicalities, all the rest of it. His audience are brain-dead morons. Well, I mean, what does he think he's trying to improve? This Bruce guy is making out that he is Wallowitz and Sheldon and all them from the Big Bang Theory all put together. And on top of that, he's the king of Wall Street. It is getting beyond a joke as to the claims these people are making about who they are, what they can do. And Boss Hog sitting there, yeah. But, you know what gets me as the main topic is that they're still fixated on talking about me. Now, one of the things today in the live stream, for months, they have been making claims that myself and my wife are criminals stealing money from the government. They have not given one shred of proof. They have not given one document, one piece of evidence, but they continually, week after week after week, have gone on Brian Smith's live streams, and Brian Smith himself has egged this on, encouraged it so he can get views on YouTube to get money. We know that he's only back on YouTube to get money because the first thing he says when you go there is smash that like button. And then at the end, please like, comment, subscribe and all that, because he's desperate for money, because Carnos has had it. Now, how do we know that? Well, the second to last live stream he did came on. I got the notification for it on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. my time, which was 7 p.m. Talibon time, Bohol. It went for 2.5 hours. So Wednesday night he wasn't there. The roof update, he wasn't there. The second roof update he made yesterday wasn't there. But this is the restaurant that's making the fortune. This is the restaurant. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be brutal here. If you are a foreigner in the Philippines and you own a business that's got cash coming through it and you're not there, your cash is going to go into the pockets of anybody who is there. It's certainly not going to go into your pocket. Now, everybody knows this is the truth. And I don't care what E-Boy or Ron Barr or that woman, whoever they are, I don't care what they say. There is no business in the Philippines run by a foreigner that's got Filipino staff. If he's not there and they're not helping themselves, sorry, why should he be any different? So if anything's being sold, it'll be one pizza for the sale and two pizzas in the pocket. One donut for sale and three donuts in the pocket. One chicken wing for sale and three chicken wings in the pocket. And anybody who wants to argue that or call me a bastard for saying it, well, go ahead and do it, because that's how it works in the Philippines. That's the truth. And anybody with a business in the Philippines will tell you exactly that. If you're not there 24/7 overseeing it with your eyes glued on the till with a camera straight down at the till, you're a dyed-in-the-wool moron idiot. But we already knew that about him. We already knew that about him. Chicken choker. Bruce read the book, Everybody Poops, He Must Be a Genius. Well, good on you. Tony's going out for Sunday lunch. Well, you have a good one, mate. I'm just going to pour myself I bought, see my beer glasses I bought? I was in we were in an op shop in Ballina, a thrift store, and they had all these glasses for 20 cents each, so I bought them. Good beer glass, eh? Just the right size, I normally drink out of half pint pint schooner glasses, but that's just the right size, that one. Oh, so this beer now, this bottle is 5 weeks old since I brewed it, and 5 weeks since I bottled it, and it's getting better every bottle. The longer you leave it, the better it takes. So Chicken Choker Hog couldn't make the timeline. Loves brain cancer, had complications. Cheers, mate. I'm drinking 180 rye shine. Well, good luck to you. Good luck to you. Anyway, look, I've got to get this because I don't want to hold Ernesto up. It's probably late up there. So, yeah, so getting back to his live stream, him and Bruce and Hog sit there talking 2 hours about massive corporate business deals, and none of his minions would have a bloody clue what's going on, so they all backed off. But nearly 2 hours of it. I mean, it was ridiculous. Even I couldn't follow it, but I couldn't be bothered. It just got boring rubbish. And he sits there for 2 hours doing it. No wonder there's nobody there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it was pointed out to me by another channel personality the other day. He's got 49,000 subscribers, but he can't get more than 20 to watch his live streams. Not more than 20 out of 49,000 subscribers. But miraculously, when he puts a video up, he gets 2,000 views. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't work. There is no algorithm, there is no system, and there is no common sense to that. Now, out of 49,000 views, even if he got 10% to watch a live stream, that's 4,900. So 1% would be 490 to watch a live stream. He only gets 20. He's getting 0.00005% of his supposed subscribers watching. What does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it tells you exactly what it tells me. They're all bought because they don't exist. Where are they on his videos? Where are they on his live streams? Nowhere. It's all crap. Do the math. You don't have to be a genius. Just do the math. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't work out. There's no YouTube algorithm that supports the bullshit of the stats on his videos. But people are tuning out left, right, and centre because they're sick to death of listening to him pull shit out of the ear and talk crap that he's a Wall Street mogul and a highfalutin, really intelligent person who can shake and move. People are getting sick of listening to his crap. And they're starting to realise that when they listen to me, I put up a document and I give a reference and people go, Well, there you go, Chicken Choker. So many subscribers, just like Terrence, the Ghost Army is real. Thank you very much. That's exactly right. So moving on, the Social Security update. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you, and it was no clickbait, I told you that I could give you 2 outright lies in his video, his Social Security update. And I will give you 2 outright lies and you can check. Now, what you do with the information, I don't care. It's just the reason I can't fathom that this guy will sit there and barefaced lie to people that something is so easy to check up on. It is so easy to check up on. The first lie I knew because I've been directly involved in this experience myself. The first lie when he said, and anybody can look this up, anybody can research this, it's very simple, go into Google and just ask. He tells everybody that there is no mail delivery in Talibon. There is no postal mail delivery in Talibon. That you have to be registered with the post office and they give you a text or give you a call to come and pick up your mail. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's 1% true. Now, so who really believes that if you're living in a town, you have to go down, and there was even an American in his comment section said, oh, I never knew there was a post office there, blah, 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 blah. This is an American, not some dumb pedal cab illiterate driver from the province. So if Americans living in Talibon don't know there's a post office there and don't know how to get their mail, doesn't say much for about, I mean, first thing I'd want to know is where I get my mail from. Now, he says that you cannot get mail delivered to you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if we go back, I sent him a registered letter, and 3 times it was delivered out to his Bohol, and 3 times he refused to sign for it. Now, if you look on the internet and research it about mail delivery, and I specifically put Talibon Bohol, what is the system with mail delivery to private houses in Talibon Bohol? Google, very simple. Do they or do they not do mail delivery? Everything but registered items. Registered items, you got to go down there and pick them up. They don't deliver registered items. You got to go down there and pick them up. Okay? All other mail is delivered. Okay, he's just lying to you. Now, you notice the first letter that he held up. If you go to, I've written it down here. Where is it? 10 minutes and 20 seconds. The first letter that he held up. Ladies and gentlemen, he shows you the dates on it. And the date on that letter was the 22nd of this month. And the date of the video was the 24th. You don't get a letter from Baltimore that was sent on the 22nd, delivered in Talibon on the 24th. And if you have a look at the letter, ladies and gentlemen, it was from the Philippines. Okay? And it was from the Philippines tax department. And if you pause that Social Security update at 10 minutes and 20 seconds, you will see on the bottom left-hand corner how it tells you that you can ignore this letter if you don't owe any taxes. They've sent in this letter advising him what to do because he owes taxes in the Philippines. And then it says, if you do not owe these taxes, you may ignore this form. He's been sent a form to fill out as to why he's not paying his taxes in the Philippines. Stupid bastard. He just doesn't think when he puts stuff up on the screen. Go to 10 minutes and 20 seconds and see, in the bottom left-hand side, he's got his hand halfway over it, but you can read that this letter is being sent to you because you owe taxes. If you have paid the taxes or don't owe the taxes, you can ignore this form. So, ladies and gentlemen, he owes taxes in the Philippines. But further, if you go on, it shows you the PO box number of the office in Baltimore where the Social Security letters came from. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care what you do with that. I'm not asking you to report them. I don't care. I'm just pointing out the guy's lies to his channel and the way he treats us all like idiots, but mainly his own viewers. He's treating you all like stupid, dumb, ignorant fools. Now, he says, and he made it quite plain, that he has arranged that Maricel be paid Charlie's payment, that it's going into a bank account of Maricel's. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you now, under United States law, under Social Security guidelines and rules, that is a barefaced lie. That does not happen. It cannot happen because of 2 things. The only way that can be done, ladies and gentlemen, is if the mother of the child, who was a dependent of the father after the age of 62, who died. Is Brian dead? Look at the rules of Social Security very carefully. The only way a foreign national can be paid a benefit for a child of a US citizen is if she lived in the USA for 5 years or longer previously. and was present with this man overseas with the child when he passed away. He's not dead, and she never lived in the Philippines. She never lived in America. Just a barefaced lie. There is no money going to any account for Charlie in her name. It can't happen. It doesn't happen. Now, there is a provision, and if you keep reading the provisions from the Social Security Act for payments overseas, it does say that the mother of a child, the husband who is deceased, can get paid a Social Security benefit for the child if the child has a disability, which is what I've been saying all along. A child is a PWD, person with a disability. Have they actually, that's the only way he's going to get paid, into a bank account in Maricel's name. The only other one is that's only way it can happen. Go and look for yourself. What shits me is this man sits there in his truck, halfway reads, and then just lies through his teeth about this money because there is none. It's all bullshit. It is all total bullshit. Charlie can only be paid money through him. That he set up a bank account for Maricel to get paid money in is complete and utter total bullshit. Do your research. You'll find out for yourself. It can only happen if she lived previously in the United States for 5 years or longer, and that she was present at the time he died, and she and the child were dependents of the American citizen who's passed away. The lie that he says that he set up his bank account for Charlie in Maricel's name and it's being paid into that bank account is complete and utter fabrication. It's false. It's untrue. Go and look at it in Social Security, American rules, regulations. You'll see I'm telling you the truth. And ask yourself, why does he lie to us? Why does he just continue to lie to us about his Social Security and his entitlements? Because he's got none. That's why. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a further look into this $68,000 paid in and then it was taken out. And that's because, ladies and gentlemen, he wasn't entitled to it and they realised their mistake. It's that simple. There's no way ever he was ever entitled to a payment of $68,000 or $58,000 or anything because he hasn't paid in and hasn't got enough credits for that. I've got friends over there, American friends over there who worked for 40 years and they've never missed a month putting money in there. They don't get that kind of payment. That's slob. He's maybe put in 2 years' worth. He'll be lucky to get $50 a month, Social Security. Why is he lying to everybody about it? You've got to make your own mind up about that, ladies and gentlemen. But treating you like fools, like absolute idiots, that's what he's always done. He's never taken a single scrap of advice from anybody on the channel. He's never taken a single scrap of information from anybody as being anyway smart. No, he knows better than everybody else, and the rest of you, you're all dimwits. Don't you get sick of hearing it, ladies and gentlemen? Maricel has got no bank account getting money from Charlie from Social Security America. You can look it up yourselves, but wait till the idiots who don't understand this come out and make another video talking shit. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, it's beyond a joke how he seems to think that because he does it, lays on so much bullshit and just continually just goes along and he's like a bulldozer. Drops a lie, drops a lie, and he just goes back and forth over it and then forgets it and then just ignores it. No matter what you ask him, and you prove him wrong to his face and he just, there is something mentally, that guy has mental blocks when it comes to telling the truth. He just can't do it. He just can't do it. So go to 10 minutes and 20 seconds and see that letter is actually from the Philippines. It's not from the United States. How can he get to the United States from the United States to Talibon in 2 days? What did President Trump fly it over personally on Air Force One? Now, that's about the only way it would have got there in 2 days from Baltimore to Talibon. So the video was, the letter was dated 22nd of the 4th and the video was 24th of the 4th. There's no way it got there in 2 days from Baltimore. So that he's saying Maricel's getting paid for Charlie, just go and have a look yourself. Go and have a look. He's treating a whole lot of you like shit, like you're stupid. I don't care what you do with the information. File it away because you people who sit there and hang on his every word know that he's treating you like a fool. Know that he will shit on you like he did on everybody that's come along. Everybody that's come along. Where's Tilapia Dave anymore? Where's Richard Laws? Where's our friend Brendan Doherty? Where's KB Twocox? Where are all his massive #1 supporters? Where's that guy from Population? What was his name? The guy that had the big business was going to get 27 lawyers on me and all this. I mean, so many people have just had enough of his bullshit. It's not funny. So, a message from Chicken Choker. It takes 4 days in Iowa to get a letter from my neighbour. Yeah, exactly. Must be some Star Trek portal. Well, on that, ladies and gentlemen, now I'm going to introduce Ernesto, who's got some interesting information. And the reason I'm doing this, I'm not interested. I couldn't give a damn. The numpties that support Brian Smith are making all sorts of claims of criminality against me and my family when it's absolutely, utterly and totally untrue. They're making huge mileage out of it, getting him views on YouTube out of a load of bullshit, thinking that they're smart. And now they're all going, oh, gee, why is he worried about my family? You know, blah, blah. I couldn't give a shit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Ernesto prove with documents and with facts that what you're talking about my family that is utter bullshit is actually true about your family. Getting the point across, ladies and gentlemen, that Brian Smith goes on his live stream and creates criminal scenarios that are completely false. I'll come on a live stream and I will show you criminal scenarios about him and his live stream and his guests and the family of his guests that are absolutely 100% true. And they don't like it. They don't like it when the boot is on the other foot, ladies and gentlemen. They very much like to sit there and talk shit and crap and make up filthy fucking stories that aren't true. And they think this is great. But when you come back and actually show that they're the ones doing it, they're the ones that are guilty of it, they don't like it. And they're all screaming and squirming and trying to act as though it's all sanitized and I've got a problem because they've got criminals in the family. Well, maybe they should have thought of that before they started making false claims about me being a criminal and my wife being a criminal. Because like I say, ladies and gentlemen, I can always prove what's going on. Now, again, here I am sitting at home, drinking my own home brew in my room, completely free. I'm not in jail. I'm not in court. I'm not in prison. I'm nowhere for welfare fraud, and nor is my Asawa. We're here. Free. Brian Smith, you notice lately he shut down the accusations. There's been no more. Because he realises, and he's looked at it and he thought, yeah, I'm making an absolute bloody fool of myself here. This has gone beyond a joke. People are now realising how stupid this is and I should keep my mouth shut. So he's knocked the fraud stuff on the head. He's knocked the GDs ripping off the Social Security on the head. There's no more talk. Now they're making up other fantastic claims of complete bullshit about sheer rubbish, which people realise is sheer, because they're talking such idiot scenarios. They're putting up videos of stuff that they've got nothing of. It's all 100% my content because they've got no content of their own. They've got nothing. They've got absolutely nothing of their own to contribute except sheer cripping my videos and putting them up under their own name. That's all they've got, nothing of their own. About subjects that have been done and dusted years ago. It's sad, it's pathetic, but that's the only thing that Boss Hog can do, that Chef Kano can do, to get views for his pathetic channel, which he's now even pissing off his own crew with. So let's have a look at the criminal truth behind the people that he supports, the actual reality of it. Not some bullshit story pulled out of the air, actual physical truth. Yeah, today his little mental midget from Arkansas was going, oh, what's he worried about my nephew for? I'm not worried about you. I couldn't give a shit about your nephew. We are just going to prove that you little prick, going on these live streams, talking shit about other people, talking criminal shit about other people, which is completely false. We're going to show them just exactly what a hypocrite, what a complete fucking nonce you really are. That it's actually you and your family who are the criminals for doing it. And you don't like it. You don't like the fact that we can bring up documents. You don't like the fact that we can bring proof and we can show you to be the arsehole that you're trying to make other people out to be, and they're not. And we're going to make a fool out of Brian Smith for having idiots like this on his live stream and the way he treats them. But he's already, the funny thing is he's already told them previously, you're an idiot, you can't farm, you're ugly, you're fat, you're a dimwit. And the guy still hangs off his every word. How dumb is that? How dumb is that? So I'm going to hand over to Ernesto. He can do what he likes and show you what he wants. And you can see for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, exactly what a complete arsehole the friends, the supporters, and the live chat content of Brian Smith, Chef Carno, really is. Ernesto, over to you, mate.
Okay. All right. This first one is the cover sheet. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you.
Is everyone able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
GD? Can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay. So these first documents, this is a cover sheet of the first case. This is State of Arkansas versus Thomas Dixon. Okay. So first of all, just to establish that we have the right person, because I think that's important. The news report that Jeff read out previous said that Thomas Dixon was 36. This is a 36-year-old Thomas Dixon. This is everything. The crimes happened in Cotton Plant, Arkansas, which is where he lives. And based on that information, the birth date, the address, which is on the same county road as Stacy, in fact, the same property. And this one involves, if you can see down here, arson, residential burglary, and breaking and entering. October 15th. And they were felonies. All of them were felonies. Okay, so there's 3 felonies here: arson, residential burglary, and breaking and entering. Okay, here's the description of what happened. On October 23rd, 2014, I, Chief Deputy Akins, was notified by multiple concerned citizens and witnesses and sources in the Cotton Plant, Arkansas 72036 area that Austin Tinkle, white male, date of birth 5296, and Alicia Lisco, white female, date of birth 5/12/92, were seen in the area of 504 Main Street, Cotton Plant, Arkansas, moments before a burglary, break-in, and eventually a fire at the residence. This incident happened on 10/15/2014 at approximately 6:07 a.m., according to the 911 communications log of the Woodruff County Sheriff's Office. The concerned citizens witness basically states that they saw Austin Tinkle and Alicia Lisco leaving the scene of Leon Crittenden's home in her blue Chevrolet truck at about 5 a.m. the same date. The concerned citizens' witnesses stated they saw a blue Chevrolet driving slow with lights off in that area. They specifically identified the driver as Lisco and the passenger as Tinkle. ACIC shows go as a blue extended cab Z71 Chevrolet bearing Arkansas license plate 521 SSO. On October 29th of 2014, Sheriff Burnett of Prairie County Sheriff's Office and Chief Turner of Des Arc Police Department came to the Woodruff County Detention Center to interview Lisco on an incident that occurred in Prairie County. After their interview on the incident, they shared some insight on the burglary and break-in incident on Leon Crittenden's. Lisco was presented a Miranda rights form. It was read and explained to her. She agreed to the form and signed it. Sometime during this recorded interview, Lisco basically stated that she tell the truth. She stated that on 10/15/14, Dixon, so this is where Thomas Dixon comes into the story. Dixon, Lisco, and Tinkle got stopped by a deputy of the Woodruff County Sheriff's Office on Highway 306. She states that the deputy instructed them to leave the area. Lisco stated that they left and went to James Tinkle's residence, located at 426 Church Street, Cotton Plant, Arkansas, 72036. Once arriving at the residence, she stated that she heard Dixon, who is Thomas Dixon, and Tinkle discussing that they were going to break into Crittenden's house. So they went over to this guy's house. What is it? Tinkle and Dixon and Tinkle were discussing that they were going to break into Crittenden's house. Lisco went on to say that after their discussion, she witnessed that they left. She went on to state that Dixon and Tinkle returned a short time later to the residence. Lisco stated that when they returned, Dixon had a cardboard box containing several items. So they had come back to the residence, and now Thomas Dixon has a cardboard box containing several items. And Tinkle told her he needed the keys to her truck to take Dixon back to his semi-truck. The semi-truck is described as a 1997 Peterbilt bearing farm plate F278417. So had a farming plate on it. Sounds like it's a big rig, like a trucker's rig. Lisco stated that she gave him the keys and he and Dixon left. So the girl gave the keys to Tinkle and Dixon and they left. She said sometime later, Tinkle returned to the residence by himself and went to sleep. Lisco went on to state that she was awakened by Dixon starting up his semi-truck and was him traveling westbound on Highway 38. She also states that once she was awakened, she heard gunshots, sirens, and eventually the fire at Crittenden's residence. So she woke up, she heard gunshots, sirens, and then she saw the fire at the house where Dixon and Tinkle broke into. During the interview, Lisco also stated that Tinkle admitted to her that he was the lookout while Dixon broke into Crittenden's residence. So Tinkle was the lookout man, and Thomas Dixon was the one who broke into Crittenden's residence. As this interview progressed, Lisco brought to our attention on 10/17/14, so October 17th, 2014, Tinkle and Dixon got rooms at the Super 8 Motel in Brinkley, Arkansas. That day, Dixon showed to her jewelry that he admitted taking from Crittenden's residence. So Thomas Dixon showed jewelry to the girl that he stole from that guy's house. That there was also a fire. There was a fire started. One item she described was a chain brooch style type of jewelry that had the letters LBE engraved on it. She further describes the box that Dixon had the jewelry as being red in color. So she basically described that he showed her stuff that he stole from that residence that connected him directly to the residence. And this is signed by the district court judge right there. Here's the arrest warrant for Thomas Dixon. So after that interview from the girl at the detention center, Lisco, they went and had an arrest warrant put out for Thomas Dixon. This is the arrest warrant. It says, to any sheriff, policeman, constable, or law enforcement officer in the state of Arkansas, appearing upon information, there are reasonable grounds for believing that Thomas Dixon, white male, date of birth 7/8/89. So that's the birthday I'm telling you about. He would be 36 years old right now, which is what the news report said about the when he got shot by the deputy. The news report said that he was 36 years old. And this matches up perfectly with that. So he's committed the offense, and here's all the charges again. The offense of arson, a class Y felony, residential burglary, a class B felony, breaking or entering, class D felony, in the county and state aforesaid. You are hereby commanded forthwith to arrest Thomas Dixon and bring him before the judge of this court to answer the information and to be dealt with according to law. This was done on the 29th day of October 2014, so about 2 weeks later. And then his bond was set at $150,000 is what Dixon's bond was set at. Okay, again, the judge has signed it right there, all signed by the judge. Next page. Okay, this is the record of the first appearance. So Dixon would have been in court this day. And this was, what day was this? Let's see. It was 10, looks like 30. So the October 30th of that same month. So here's the record of the first appearance. It basically just states his charges and their felonies, arson, residential burglary, and breaking and entry. All three felonies. It states that the court, they found that he was indigent, which means he's broke. He doesn't have any money. He's indigent. And they have to find you indigent before they can give you a free attorney, like a public defender. So they found him indigent, which means he's broke, he has no money, and he can't afford legal representation. So they did appoint an attorney to represent the defendant, and his name is Danny Glover or / Jerry Roberts. It must have been two. Oh, hang on one second. Okay. So they appointed him two public defenders. That's basically what happened on the first appearance after they stated the charges to him, which are all felonies. Arson, residential burglary, and breaking and entry. Okay. Now, this one looks like, okay, so this is a copy of that cover sheet I already showed you with everything at the bottom there. This next page, it looks like, again, it's that cover sheet. There's a lot of these that are kind of the same, have a lot of the same information. Just has his birthday. His arrest date was October 30th, 2014. Has his name, Thomas Dixon, his birthday, and then again, the charges down here, which are felonies. Okay, again, the counts are here. Arson, residential burglary, and breaking and entering. And this one's signed by the prosecutor, whose name is John Bell, was the prosecuting attorney, the DA. Okay. This one here is, let's see here, it's a plea statement. So Thomas Dixon decided, listen, they've got me dead to rights. You know, I'm just going to take a plea agreement. I'm not going to fight this one in court. So I'm just going to take the offer that they gave me. Looks like the offer that they gave him is they wouldn't prosecute the arson, and they wouldn't prosecute the, what is it? The arson or the, let's see, I'll look at here. So they wouldn't prosecute the arson or the breaking and entering, but they did find him guilty of criminal mischief in the first degree, which is also a felony. And a fine up to $10,000. It looks like they fined him. So he decided he didn't want to go to jail, and he was sentenced as a first offender at this time, back in 2014. Now, he was sentenced to 10 years, 120 months in prison. 10 years in prison he was sentenced to for this charge. That's a hefty chunk of time. And you can see that sentence down here. It's hard to see, but I'll actually show you guys where you can find all these documents online once I'm done here, and you can go and look at them. You guys can go check them out. So this is the sentencing order that basically says he's getting 120 months in the Arkansas Department of Corrections. So they would have remanded him into custody immediately to begin serving his 10-year prison sentence. Now, you might think Dixon had learned his lesson after being sentenced to 10 years in prison, but I can assure you he didn't. These are just aggravating circumstances, mitigating that they consider nothing that important. Here is, as part of the sentencing order, they're just saying they didn't prosecute on some of the charges as part of the plea deal, but they did prosecute that third one, and he accepted 10 years in prison. Thomas Dixon said, "I'm guilty," and he accepted the 10 years in prison. Okay, they gave him 66 days of credit, which it shows right there. So he had been in jail already 2 months by the time he took the plea agreement. So they gave him 66 days of jail credit on the 10 years in prison. Okay, this one is just a notice of a hearing. So later in, what day was this? This is now in 2017. He was notified that he needs to appear in the court for restitution. So now the court wants him back in so that they can decide on how much restitution he has to pay for that breaking and entering and arson and all those crimes that he committed against Crittenden, which is the last name of the victim. Again, this is another one. It just says petition for defendant to appear to review payment of restitution. On 6/13/2006, in Woodruff County Circuit Court, the above named defendant was guilty of charges of arson. He's ordered to pay, I don't know if you can see it, he's ordered to pay $176,000 in restitution for this crime. Thomas Dixon has to pay $176,000 in restitution. Again, that's signed by the prosecuting attorney. This one's order to transfer. This is just this is just basically saying, bring him from prison and transfer him to the court. That's all this is. So right now, Dixon is still in prison the whole time, and anytime they need him to come to the court, they fill out one of these order to transfer, and that's signed by the judge saying, bring him into court for us through the transport at the prison. Again, this is another transfer order for the same type of thing. This one here is an order of continuance. So they would have showed up and the judges said, let's continue this to another day. Just basically kicking the can down the road. And this was in January 13th of 2019. And they said he needs to appear. If he fails to appear, there will be a warrant out for him. So this is just a continuance. This next one is, it's an order granting continuance based upon the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. So this is probably from that continuance where they said because of COVID-19, those courts were, some of them were closed, a lot of them were backed up. They did a continuance based on COVID-19. And this was in 2022. So Dixon was still in prison from 2016 on that 10-year sentence. He was still in prison by 2022 during the COVID pandemic. And that's when this continuance was done for that case. This is a citation to appear. So now they've sent out a citation for Thomas Dixon to appear in court. They gave his address here as 1345 Woodruff, Old County Road 639. So that's the address I was telling you about. This is right next door to Stacy Dixon. This is right on that same property. It's 1345 County Road 639, Cotton Plant, Arkansas. So this is where Thomas Dixon, this is his residence, where his mail was going. And Dixon tries to act like, oh, I don't know. It's not even at my trailer or wherever, but it's on the same property. This is all on the same property. It may not be Dixon's trailer, but there are other little trailers on that property. They probably all live in trailers. Okay, so that's just a citation to appear, which it says up there, citation to appear. This is a fax cover sheet. Can you please have him sign this citation to appear and fax back to us? So they sent this to the jail. They had to send this citation to appear to the jail, and they asked the jail, listen, can you please go to his cell and have him sign this, that he's received this notice to appear. Okay, here's a bench warrant, as you can see. So it looks like they put out a bench warrant for him. No bond, bench warrant. Let me see when this was done. November 1st, 2022. His court date is at 9 a.m. on 2/13/2023. So again, this is just in the last 3 years that all of this was going on. And there's the bench warrant signed by the judge. So now they put a bench warrant out for him, which I think is a second one now in this case. Now, this one is a petition to order to show cause why defendant should not be held in contempt. On December 2015, defendant appeared before Woodruff County Circuit Court and was ordered to pay fines. The defendant has failed to make the payments. So because he didn't make the payments that the court told him to make, now they're going to hold him in contempt of court. And that's what this form is about. This next one shows the criminal charge of criminal mischief, which is what he received the 10 years for. This looks like a copy of the other one. And he refused to make payments of $150 per month. So it says right there he was supposed to pay $176,000, and he'd only paid $3,015. They gave him a payment plan of $150 per month, and he failed and refused to make the payments. So they want to bring him back in, hold him in contempt for failing to make those restitution payments of $176,000 at $150 per month. How many months is that? Someone do that math. 176,000 divided by 150. And tell us how many months that is his payment plan was. Okay, next page. This one again just says State of Arkansas versus Thomas Dixon. Order to show cause that on this day presented the court the petition of the state of Arkansas alleging that the above named defendant had failed to make restitution and or fine payments. Signed by the judge. And then this is the final proof of service. Now, I think by this time Dixon had gotten out of prison because they were unable to locate him, is what it says down there. unable to locate. And they have an order to appear for him. So they were and this was done on the 10th of June, 2024. So he must have been out of prison by then, which makes sense because you usually do about 75 to 80% of your prison time on state charges. So he could have easily been out of prison by then, and now they can't find him. He's disappeared. Hang on, let me get a drink.
Okay, thanks, Ernesto. Listen, guys out there, listen. I just got a notification that the man himself has gone live. Now, I just wrote this note down, and I want everybody to understand this, and I want to explain this. Stacey has just gone now live to give his side, but here's the thing: he has no side of the story. He has been putting up month after month after month through Brian Smith's live stream and from his own videos and from his own live streams on his own channel that my wife is a criminal stealing from government funds in Australia and that we're both benefiting from theft of taxpayer money. This is completely, utterly and totally false. It's untrue. It's malicious. It's defamatory. It's affecting our reputation, and I'm not standing for it. So the reason that Ernesto has come on and given you all this information, which you've seen in black and white in court documents, is to show he hasn't got a side to his story. There is no excuse for what he's doing. He has made deliberately, willingly and wantingly these videos and these accusations about my wife and myself being criminals in Australia. It's just a story. There's no proof. There's no evidence. It's just complete and utter bullshit. And he's gotten this fucking idiot up in Queensland involved in it. Well, what that fucking idiot in Queensland doesn't know is that it's illegal to share through a third party New South Wales court documents or legal documents. So there's things underway about the fact that he sent them to the other side of the planet to be advertised. And here's the thing. The name of the law firm that wrote that was exposed on a video from fucking Arkansas. That legal firm is now fucking deciding whether or not to fucking take this prick on. The dumb, bipolar, medicated fucking mental midget in Queensland is soon going to find out what a fucking idiot he really is, dealing with fucking idiots. But the point of what Ernesto's done, ladies and gentlemen, and I really appreciate how he's gone to this trouble, I am sick to death of fucking numpties, friends of Brian Granville Smith, the biggest loser of all fucking time, who is himself on the run from US authorities with arrest warrants out for him for failing to appear in court in Chico, California. Those arrest warrants are current now, but he doesn't tell you that, ladies and gentlemen. He tells you that he's a big businessman in Talibon Bohol. Well, let me tell you that Stacey fucking Dixon, who's been on his live streams, in conjunction with Van Turner and other fools propagating these lies about myself and my wife. Now, you can say what you like about me. I'm big enough and ugly enough to look after myself. But you want to involve my wife, who's never had a single second on this channel. She's got nothing to do with anything I do on the internet. She is her own person. She has never been involved in any way, shape or form. She's never made a comment on this channel. Never, not once. She wants nothing to do with it. So for him to turn around and month after month after month after month accuse her of being a criminal when it's not true, then I have no problem whatsoever in listening and thanking Ernesto to come on and show the criminal records of his relatives. Because I can, because I can prove it, and because I always tell everybody on this channel that I tell the truth. Now, the truth is that I'm sitting here drinking my beer. Ladies and gentlemen, hang on a sec, let me turn my camera back on. The truth is that I'm sitting here drinking my beer. My wife's out cooking me a Sunday dinner. She's not in jail either. But I will not sit by. A husband's duty is to protect his wife. This fool has been going on, This fool has been going on Brian Smith's live streams for weeks, if not months, claiming that my wife is a criminal, claiming that she's stealing money from a government department. Well, we all know that's not true. Centrelink Australia is a very quick to fucking grab the routers. That's what we call them over here, router, R-O-R-T-E-R. If you're rorting Centrelink here, you're gone. And Centrelink are now cracking down. Anybody who's caught rorting them, there's no slap on the wrist, there's no pay them back $10 a month. You go straight to jail. My wife is not in jail, and she never will be because she's not a criminal. But they keep saying this on Brian Smith's live streams. Brian Smith, dirty, rotten, low-down piece of shit with his flat-nosed, drunken slag of a bloody coconut-grinding bitch of a wife, keep saying this. Well, let's point out who is actually the ones with criminals in their family, which is exactly what Ernesto's done today. He's now on his live stream trying to convince everybody that it's all, not, don't worry about it. It's got, it's not a problem, blah, 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 blah. Well, if his relatives being criminals sent to jail for years and years and years is nothing to worry about, why is he making up stories that are not true about my wife? She's not a criminal, never has been a criminal. And this is what happens to anybody out there who wants to be an arsehole like this mental midget from Arkansas, making up these filthy, disgusting lies. But ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line is Brian Granville Smith, Chef Carno, the ice cream man, the IQ man, the biggest businessman on Bohol, the man that can get people blacklisted with one phone call, the man that talks $500 billion worth of policy to the Philippines government, is the one that's responsible for it because he encourages it, he allows it, and I will make this prick pay. I've told you all along, this guy doesn't know the shit. He turns around and says, well, you don't know the trouble you're in, GD. I've got plans for you, GD. They're all signed, sealed, and delivered. If you're dumb enough to come back to the Philippines, you're going to rot in the Philippines jail. I've got plans for you, boy. Oh, yeah, all set in place. Remember that video? Well, listen to me, Smith. I have got plans for you. I have. And trust me, I've put money aside. If I drop dead tomorrow, boom, things are going to go. Things are going to take place. Don't worry about that because, you see, I have money. You don't. But the fact is, this idiot is now trying to play down and make out shit on a live stream. Well, no, I'm proving that he's got criminals. He shouldn't be in a glass house throwing stones, making up false stories that my wife is a criminal, when actually it's him and his family that are the criminals. That's the point, ladies and gentlemen. That's the point. I don't give a shit about his nephew. I give a shit about the hypocrisy and the filth and the stupidity of this fool. But his mentor, Brian Granville Smith of Talibon, is the one that started it, allows it, plays with it. Brian Granville Smith is a lying sack of shit who just the other day totally lied to you about the form of payment from Social Security from the American government. There is no payment going into a bank account in Maricel Smith's name. She did not live in the United States for 5 years, as is one of the requirements. Okay? The other requirement, I can't remember. Oh, or that she was dependent on him after he was 62 years of age and available for Social Security, and he died. Well, they were dependent on him. That's the only way she can get the money. Or if in a separate case, they have sent documents and prove that he's got a disability. Well, he's got a mental disability. We all know that. So how is he getting money for Charlie? The only way he can get money for Charlie is to send medical documents over there to say he's a mom. I rest my case. And I don't give a shit again. People have crucified me and rung me up and messaged me and said, oh, he shouldn't involve his kid. I don't involve his kid. He does. If he doesn't want his kid discussed on bloody TV, keep him off TV. It's as simple as that. And that is a worldwide platform. And worldwide, the consensus is if you shove your kid on TV, then your kid is fair game. I'm not doing anything wrong. If he doesn't want his kid talked about, keep him off TV. Keep him off the internet. And nobody can say anything. But he continually places him there to get views for sympathy. The only way they can get Social Security for that kid in Maricel's name is if he died while they were his dependents and she had lived previously in the United States for 5 years. That's the law of Social Security in America. Those are the rules and regulations. And for him to sit there in his truck after opening his letter and tell you that he's arranged all that, you people out there that support him are total idiots. That's what he thinks of you, if you're going to believe that. He thinks you are complete and utter mongs. He thinks you're even dumber than the mongs to believe the shit that he talks about Social Security. And he's not getting a penny. You saw there was a mistake made and they took it back. He hasn't got a penny and is not getting a penny. And you don't get documents sent from Baltimore to Talibon in 24 hours. That was a document from, from the tax department of the Philippines saying, pay your fucking taxes, boy. And here's a form to fill in. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody who wants to comment, please do. Tell him he's dreaming. Yes, paperwork is full name, not G. Smith. You must think we're like Stacey's stupid. Yeah. It's just unbelievable. But I wanted to show people out there that if you want to make false claims against my wife being a criminal, then I will show that your relatives are criminals and I'll prove it. That's all there is to it. I don't give a shit about his nephew. I don't give a shit about him. They are mental midgets, but they're fucking dangerous mental midgets. They're defamatory. They're slanderous. They're just nasty fucking people. That's all they are. But at the same time, they're criminals. Convicted criminals. Where is all the accusations that we're criminals? We've shown you documents. We've shown you proof. Where's anything from him except the shit that he talks out of thin air that Brian Smith allows to be said on his live stream? That he twists and turns to get views for AdSense because he's broke. He's a loser. He's a grifter. He's a fat slob. And he allows scum-sucking criminals like this on his live stream. Well, you want to follow a fat fuck like that? Go ahead. Be the same kind of loser he is. But listen to what is going on with the people that you're supporting. They're scum. They're just farm illiterate, hick, hayseed scum. That's all they are. Convicted scum. And that's all they've got. That's all Brian Granville's got. Brian Granville-Smith's got nothing but an illiterate with a brain of a 10-year-old, with criminal family all around him to back him up. That's all Brian Granville-Smith has got. And that's all he's got to go on.
All right, let's get cooking on these, GD. Let's get cooking on these because I have 3 more cases here.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, there's 3. There's 3 more cases.
Okay,
like I said,
let's have a look. Let's just really rub it in. Let's just really rub it in. We can prove our story, ladies and gentlemen. What can they do? They can just sit there and go like this because that's what they are, wankers.
Okay, so this one is the state of Arkansas versus Thomas Dixon. Again, birth date, July 8th, 1989. Now, this one was the arrest date of November 24th, 2015. Now, you're going to say, how the heck did he get arrested when he was supposed to be in prison? Well, look at the charges. 3rd-degree escape. So he escaped from the penitentiary. Second charge, which is a felony. Second charge is impairing the operation of a vital public facility. So that must have been related to escaping from the prison, the public facility. Obstructing government operations. Resisting arrest. Interference with a law enforcement officer. And fleeing, also fleeing. Okay, again, this is the same. Some of these are copies. It's weird. I printed everything off, but to be honest, this is just a copy of the address, everything on him with the birth date again. Again, here's the offenses. The count offenses are 3rd-degree escape, impairing the operation of a vital public facility, obstructing government operations, and resisting arrest, and interference with a law enforcement officer. All signed by that same district attorney from the last case, John Bell. All right, here's the description. I, Chief Deputy Joe Akins, do solemnly swear that in said county of Woodruff, Thomas Dixon did on November 24th commit the offense of third-degree escape, a Class C felony, and pray a warrant from the District Court of Augusta to apprehend and bring Thomas Dixon, July 8th, 1989, which is his birthday, before the court to be dealt with according to the law. The facts of the case are as follows. On November 24, 2015, I, Major Joe Atkins, received a telephone call from the Woodruff County Detention Center informing me that Thomas J. Dixon had escaped from the recreation yard area. Jailer Larry Dawson was on duty at the time of the escape. I informed dispatch to lock down the facility and provide me an accurate inmate count. Once the inmate count was confirmed, I had dispatched to put out to all area law enforcement agencies and personnel to search the immediate and citywide Augusta area for Dixon. I contacted and informed Dawson to write a statement about the incident. In Dawson's statement, he stated that at 1:30 p.m., he took 6 inmates, including Thomas Dixon, to the recreation yard for their recreation time. At approximately 2:30 p.m., Dawson stated that while he was returning the 6 inmates to their cell, he noticed that Dixon was not accounted for. Dawson went on to state that upon his discovery of Dixon missing, he notified dispatch. According to law enforcement personnel during their citywide search, they spotted and apprehended Dixon in the area of Right A Way Street, located in the northern part of Augusta. At the time of Dixon's capture, he changed his clothing. Instead of being in his detention uniform, he was found to be in a pair of blue jeans, a black t-shirt, and a pair of gray tennis shirts. So he took off all of his prison clothes and somehow found street clothes of somebody's to put on after he escaped. He was able to change his clothes. Dixon was transported back to the Woodruff County Detention Center, so he didn't last long out on the run. They found him. Once back at the detention center, Dixon became physically aggressive and resisting law enforcement officials. Control was gained on Dixon, and he was placed back into his cell. The above-mentioned clothing was logged and placed in the evidence room. I debriefed Jailer Dawson about the incident. He basically states that he came back into the detention center to bring the inmates back to their cells. He went on to tell me from the time he came inside and go to the door of the recreation yard area, which is less than 3 minutes, Dixon made his escape. Inspection of the recreation area revealed on west side of recreation unit, Dixon rose up the bottom of the chain link fence and crawled out. So he climbed a fence and escaped from the detention center, from the prison. The process for transferring inmates to the recreation area is basically walking them in a predetermined path from their cells, exiting the east side of the detention center to a fenced walkway to the recreation area and locked in. Transferring the inmates back to their jailer must enter back into the detention center. Hang on. Sorry, this motion light goes off. Okay. Transferring the inmates back to their jailer must enter back into the detention center at the south side and use the predetermined path to the rear of the detention center and exit going to the recreation area. It is my opinion that Dixon used that opportune time from the jailer going back into the detention center to transfer them back to their cells to escape. Thomas J. Dixon will be charged with the misdemeanor charges also impairing the operation of a vital public facility, obstructing governmental operations, resisting arrest, interference with a law enforcement officer. Okay, so this is the second case now, and this was the escape. And then during that escape, he did all of these other obstructing government operations and interference with the law enforcement officer. These are all signed. This next one is just his appearance. Now, so he had to make an appearance on these new charges while he was in prison. And it says here it was a felony, class 3, third-degree escape, fleeing, resisting arrest, obstructing government operations. Here's the part again where they found him indigent. So he was asked, hey, can you afford legal counsel? He said no. They made a finding that he's indigent, that he couldn't afford it. And again, they appointed him a public defender again for this case, and it's a fee of $25 was assessed for that. The bond was set at $150,000 again on this case, and it just shows the judge's name, and the bond amount was $150,000. This was November 30th, 2015. So he'd only been in maybe less than a year, and then he escaped, but they caught him right away. This is the arrest warrant. They issued an arrest warrant on the case, 30th of November, 2015. As part of that case, I'm sure that's when he escaped. It was a $150,000 bond. And then I guess he must have pled on these charges as well. It says he was able to plead these charges out, and because there was another case that was ongoing. So this is a nolly prosecute. It's the prosecutor's no contest. It's not saying that you're not guilty. It's just saying that they chose not to prosecute this case, exactly, because of a plea in another case. They must have tied it to his other case. But yeah, so that was the escape and all that other stuff. Okay, that was the second one. Now again, you would think Dixon has learned his lesson. Not the case. This next one is theft of property. Okay, here we go. There's an arrest warrant issued for theft of property, which is a Class D felony. There was a crime committed of theft of property. It looks like it would have been less than $1,000. Okay, here we go. I, Chief Deputy Atkins, do solemnly swear in this, as said, County of Woodruff, Thomas Dixon did on November 24th commit the offense of theft of property. So this would have been during that escape, because it's all on the same time. Yeah, on January 18th, oh no, this is after. So on January 18th, 2017, U.S. Fish and Wildlife cabin located at 2927 Woodruff County 665 was broken into. Entry was gained on the north side of the building through a window. On the 17th of January, one of the other storage buildings was also broken into. While at the cabin taking the report, Deputy Slocum followed some fresh four-wheeler tracks to a farm shop by David A. Butcher, white male. The four-wheeler tracks did indeed lead to the shop operated by Butcher. Slocum contacted Federal Wildlife Officer Jeremy Wynn and notified me of his findings. Butcher was contacted via cell phone and was informed that Wynn and I would come to his farm located on Highway 238. Highway 38, and talk to him about the four-wheeler leading into his shop. Once arriving at his shop on Highway 38, we noticed a four-wheeler in the shop. There were not the same four-wheeler tracks that led into the shop of Wood County Road 655. So he said that the tracks of the four-wheeler, the tires were different tread than were on the ground. Butcher was asked if he would give consent for law enforcement to search the shop on Woodruff County Road 655. He agreed and signed the consent form to search. Myself and Wen followed Butcher back to that location. On the way to the shop, Butcher made a sudden stop at Dixon residence, located at 1345 Woodruff County 639. Had a conversation about Dixon's employment with him. Also present was Jonathan Williams, white male, has his date of birth. Wynn and I asked Dixon, did he have a four-wheeler? Dixon stated that he did have a four-wheeler and went on to ask Nguyen and I if he wanted to see it. So Thomas Dixon offered to show the cops the four-wheeler that he owned. I told Nguyen to go ahead and let Dixon show him the four-wheeler, and it was determined that those tracks did not match tracks found leading into the butcher shop. We continued to the location of the butcher shops. The search yielded several items stolen from the cabin. There was a large Vizio television, an ice maker, a Whirlpool washer and dryer set, cleaning equipment, supplies, shotgun ammunition, several pots and pans, pillows, television, remote controls. Anything that is not listed, refer to the list of items taken by the federal wildlife officer, Ollie Gordman. On 1/19/2017, Dixon and Williams were read there for their Miranda rights forms. Both agreed and signed them. During the recorded interview, Dixon stated that he texted Butcher in the morning of the 18th of January asking about some work. He stated that Butcher told yes and told him to come to the shop. Dixon asked if it would be all right if Williams would come with him because he had a vehicle. Dixon stated that Butcher stated yes. According to Williams, it was about 5 or 5:30 a.m. Dixon could not indicate the time. They stated that eventually they arrived at the shop and met Butcher. They went on to state that there was an unknown white female present inside the shop. Williams stated that while in the shop, he saw a trailer with a washer and dryer on it hooked to a four-wheeler. Dixon stated that he saw a flat screen TV on the table. Both William and Dixon basically stated that they and Butcher go looking for scrap iron for a period of time. After this period of time, Williams and Dixon stated that Butcher tell them to hurry up and come back to his shop and help him load some stuff on a trailer. They stated that when they got there, Butcher told them to leave because he is hot and to look at the game wardens and county vehicle were at the cabin. Also present at the shop were Bradley Weatherford, a white male, and Mashawn Britt, a white female. Dixon was told by Butcher to load the four-wheeler on a trailer at Ricky D. Weatherford's residence at 5287 Woodruff 655. And for them, which is Williams and Dixon, to come to his shop to earn $20. Both stated that when they got to the shop, they helped Butcher change tires. So they changed the tires on the four-wheeler so that they wouldn't match the tracks in the mud. So when I said earlier that the tracks didn't match, it's because they changed the tires and the rims off the four-wheeler to cover up any evidence, to tamper with evidence. Later investigation in this incident revealed that David A. Butcher and Amanda K. Young had broken into the cabin. So he was an accessory. This one, he was an accessory to the crime on this one. Yep, Thomas Dixon. Okay, so he was just an accessory to this theft. He was involved in the crime, but he didn't actually, it doesn't sound like he stole everything. But anyway, okay, so this is theft of property. These are the charges. This is his first appearance. Again, they found him indigent and they assigned him a public defender. The bail was set at $50,000. It has everything on here: social security number, driver's license number. And I don't know why. I mean, this is all stuff that's public record online, and they put it all up here. Theft of property was the charge. Again, theft of property. This is an order to transport. So they were finding crimes while he was in prison, it looks like. They were finding more crimes on Thomas Dixon that hadn't come to light yet. And this is another order to transport the inmate to a scheduled hearing, which is what it says right there. So Dixon was in prison, and then they were still finding more of his crimes, and they were transporting him back to court for this stuff. He was still being charged with crimes even while serving prison time. Okay, again, this is just the judgment. So he was sentenced to 365 days in county jail for this one, and he was given credit for six months. So it sounds like a total a net total of 6 months. He was sentenced for that theft, that accessory to the theft. Okay, last one, almost done. This one is criminal impersonation. And let's see, this one again, it's Thomas Dixon. Has his address there, 1345 Woodruff, County Road 639. His date of birth is July 8th, 1989. And this offense date was on 10/12/23. So he must have been out of prison by then. His offense day was 10/12/23. Count one, criminal impersonation. On October 12th, 2023 at 6 p.m., Captain Charles Heron was patrolling the city when he came into contact with Thomas Dixon. Captain Heron pulled him over at 301 Lynch Street for expired tags. So Thomas Dixon was driving around on expired tags. At the traffic stop, Mr. Dixon identified himself as Dennis Dixon. So Dennis Dixon is Thomas Dixon's brother. He was given 3 citations for no registration in vehicle, expired vehicle tags, and driving on a suspended license. So 3 citations, no registration, expired tags, and driving on a suspended license. Captain Heron further learned that Mr. Dixon gave his brother's name, and his true identity was Thomas Dixon. This constitutes as criminal impersonation, a Class D felony, which carries a maximum sentence not to exceed 6 years with a fine up to $10,000 against the peace and dignity of the state of Arkansas, entered on this day of January 2024. So he was driving around with expired tags, suspended license, and no registration. When the officer asked him who he was, he identified himself as his brother, Dennis Dixon, because he probably thought that he would be in less trouble if the officer thought he was Dennis. Because if he told him he was Thomas, the officer would have seen that was sentenced to 10 years in prison and just got out of prison recently. And he would have seen all of the other criminal records. This is an affidavit for probable cause, criminal impersonation, a Class D felony. On October 12th, this is the same description as what I just read you. Again, it was signed by the officer and by the prosecuting attorney again, John Bell. This was the warrant for his arrest that they had. Looks like they had a bond of $5,000 for this one. Proof of service, Thomas Dixon, 1345 Woodruff, 639. So they must have found out, they didn't arrest him on the spot, but later they issued a warrant for him, and they served him with this paperwork to come in. It's a summons, it has it listed right here, summons. Okay, so they put out an arrest warrant and they sent a summons for him to show up to court at 1345 Woodruff, County Road 639. You can check out that address, 1345 Woodruff, Arkansas. It's County Road 639. So I guess it would be 1345 County Road 639 if you really want to look it up on Google. And you'll see that there's a bunch of trailers there. They all live in that same property area, which I'm sure it was just family land, and they all set up their shitty little trailers on that family land. 1 second, guys.
Ernesto, can you do me a favor, please?
Yeah.
Just in the chat, I just want you to just type one word, just hello, yep, whatever, just so I can do something. Just type one word in the chat for me, please.
Okay, I put hello.
I'll put a wrench next to your name.
I mean, yeah, you can try, but I told you, like, I got blocked a long time ago by Will PP when Will PP.
Oh, well, you're on it. You should be able to put just in where it says, post a comment, just write test or hello or whatever, and then just
Yeah, I did. I put hello.
nothing's coming up.
Yeah, I know. I we kind of already established that Will PP blocked me a long time ago. He
Okay, well,
blocked.
yeah, but how are you getting on doing this? I mean, that's weird. How can you get in on the panel if you can't get in on the comments?
I
That's
mean, I
weird.
can get in on your I can get in on your live stream. I'm just blocked from the comments. I can still get on your live stream.
Yeah, but how does that work? I don't know. I thought if you're blocked from comments, okay, I got to figure that out. I got to figure that out. Anyway, keep going, keep going. My mistake.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, we're almost done. So this was a proof of service for that impersonation. So this was another felony. So Thomas Dixon has many felonies and many misdemeanors on his record through his criminal career. It's quite a list of stuff, and the prison escape one to me is just baffling. It's just crazy. Okay, so this is just an order to appear. Says he's notified that a hearing will be held at 9 a.m. on the 28th day of February. So this was only 2 years ago, 2 years and a few months ago. It's like 2 years and 2 months ago, he was ordered to appear in court on this impersonation charge for saying that he was his brother, Dennis Dixon, um, to the officer. Again, it's a citation to appear. Uh, and then this one says now he's okay. Delivering a copy, say that the substance of each to Thomas. So he was in jail at the time now.
Right.
So they took him after the arrest warrant. They would have arrested him and took him to the detention center, back to the detention center that he was in previously, and now they've served him with an order to appear. So they sent this to the detention center where he was back in prison, and they told him he needs to appear on this new charge of impersonation. Again, this is just order to appear. Same type, this is a copy basically of the other one. Order to appear. Uh, Thomas Dixon is in jail. Um, and this is an affidavit of indigency. So again, they found that he was broke and had no money, and he wasn't employed at the time. He didn't have a job. Surprise, surprise. I mean, this guy's a first class loser. And this is Dixon's family. This is his DNA. This is the same DNA that Dixon has in him. And this is all part of that family. And I
Yeah.
guarantee if I really did some digging and really did some searching, I could find more stuff. But, I just haven't gotten to that point yet.
Well, the thing there,
Okay, so let me
as you
just
point,
finish. It looks like his budget is nothing. Everything's zero. This is attorney fee for his public defender. He had to pay $200 to the public defender's office for his attorney. And then this one just says it's a misdemeanor judgment. So he pled down to a misdemeanor and he pled out to a class A misdemeanor. And he has to pay $200 to the public attorney and $650 fine for that impersonation charge. That was his sentence along with criminal impersonation. He had to pay $650, $200 to the public defender, and $40 for the jail administration fee. Yeah, and then it says court is amended the criminal impersonation from a class D felony to a misdemeanor. So he didn't go to trial on this one. He pled out to a misdemeanor. And that's what Dixon does. He never goes to court because they always have him dead to rights. But those are the four criminal cases. Now, everybody knows about this one that happened last year that you read in the news. Okay? This is where it sounds like Dixon, it says in the news that he assaulted somebody and that he fled the residence and that he fled the residence and took off somewhere to hide, which he does, right? He likes to flee. We've already established that. And later, the officer came back to the house at 13:45, at the trailer, I should say, 13:45, County Road 639. And it sounds like from the report that he charged the deputy, and the deputy fired his service weapon and struck Thomas Dixon, and they had to medevac him in a helicopter to the closest medical center. Now, this case is still ongoing. I tried to get the paperwork on that case, but it's still making its way through the justice system. He still has an open case on it. It hasn't gone to trial. It's not been closed, so I can't get the paperwork yet on this case. When it closes, when it's finished, I will get the paperwork on it, and we will find out what happened. We'll have a description of what happened. But I just wanted to let everybody know about that case. It hasn't been closed yet. It's still ongoing, and I can't request all the court documents until it's closed and finished.
Okay, well, just let me hold this thought. So I'm just wondering how bloody stupid Brian Granville Smith must feel right now. Because to me, this makes Brian Granville Smith out to be the biggest dumbass on Philippines live stream TV. Because Dixon has known about this, has been a part of this. Now, I can attest, the same as what you said, when it was even written in the police report, that it was all family members, all involved at 693, that road in Cotton Plant. Now, I know for a fact that that's fucking Dixon's address. That's Stacey Dixon's address. He's known about it. He's been involved in it all the way through since, 2014? And then this last case of assault that's still before the courts, as you mentioned, come up just now. So this whole time of all this criminality in his family, all this police-verified, court-verified criminality between him and his relatives, right? He's known about it the whole time. Did he tell Boss Hogg when he started making all these claims about me and my wife on his live stream about criminality on our behalf? Did he tell Boss Hogg, oh, hang on, while I'm making up this bullshit about GD, I better let you know that since 2014, right on this property, there's been convicted crimes and criminals in my family, but hey, we won't say anything about that on your live stream, hey, we'll keep that quiet. We'll just make up fucking fantastic bullshit stories about GD and waffle on so you get views. No one's going to find out. No one's going to know, Brian. So Brian Smith is sitting there right now going, he's made a total fuckwit out of me because I've listened to his bullshit and I've put it all over my live stream and I've encouraged it. And everybody now is looking at me because now it's just been proved what a complete fucking hypocrite, liar and total cunt Stacey Dixon is. Because this has been going on in his family since 2014. It's still ongoing. And it's on the same property that he lives on. So there's no way he didn't know about it. But at the same time, he's got the cheek to come onto my live stream and make up all this bullshit about GD and his wife while it's actually his family who are the convicted criminals. I mean, how fucking ridiculous is this, ladies and gentlemen? How fucking dumb does Brian Granville Smith look now? Because he is, ladies and gentlemen, he's just an arsehole out for views. He's an ignorant grifter. He himself is on the run at the moment in the Philippines from outstanding arrest warrants in Chico, California. And that is the case. And anybody who doesn't believe me, I've proved it to you 1,000 times. It's posted there on expat forums. The link to expat forums is on my channel. Anybody wants to go there and see the truth in Californian and Nevadan legal documents from the courts there. I'm not making stories, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not Stacey Dixon. I'm GD. I tell the truth. I provide proof and documents, just as Ernesto has done for the last hour or so, proving that this guy's a hypocritical piece of shit. He's now sitting there with this bearded wanker who's too scared to identify himself and his whereabouts, because he knows damn well that I'll turn him into bloody Swiss cheese. But he's the man that's going to tear me to pieces limb from limb. Ladies and gentlemen, these people are hilarious. But Brian Granville Smith, in the last 2 days, has completely, utterly, and totally destroyed his credibility by lying to you about telling you that he set up a bank account for Maricel to receive Social Security for the Mongoloid Charlie. It can't be done. Look it up yourself under the Social Security website. The only way a foreign non-citizen can get paid is if she was the dependent of a US citizen who died overseas, and she was dependent on him at the time, and she had to correspondingly live in the United States for 5 years previously. She never lived in the United States, and he's not dead. His story that he told you in that truck, that he's got a bank account set up in her name, is complete and utter total fabrication. Charlie's not getting any money, and he's not getting any money. The lies from that guy is so unbelievable, it's not funny. But he has got a letter from the tax department of the Philippines saying, you owe taxes, fill this form out and send them back or you're in trouble. And then down the bottom it says, if you don't owe the taxes, then ignore this form. Well, the reason they sent the form is because he owes the taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sick to death of having to put up with the nonsense, bullshit and lies of this fool. Well, he treats you all like complete fools. Treats you all like complete fools, idiots. Like I say, go to his Social Security update and look at, where is it? 10 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, I'll guarantee he deletes this video or edits it so you can't see it. It clearly states that this form is because you owe taxes. If you don't owe taxes, then you can ignore this form. He has to fill it out. And it's only 2 days old. It's not from America. Don't insult anybody's intelligence out there, people, by saying you can get a letter from Baltimore to Talibon in 2 days. Come on, seriously.
The other thing nobody's talking about is when you collect Social Security at 62, you can't just make a bunch. You can't just make a bunch of money. I think they limit you to $24,000 a year. Now at 70, that changes. I think at 70 years old, you can make an unlimited amount. But when you retire at 62, I think it's like 24,500 a year is the cutoff. After that, for every $2 you earn, they deduct $1 from your benefit. So let's say 24,000 a year is 2,000 a month. If Hogg does what he's saying and makes $100 a day at his restaurant, that's 3,000 a month. So what that means is anything over that 2,100, maybe it's 24,500 a year. I think it's, so anything over 2,000 a month would be deducted at the rate of $1 for every $2 earned.
Okay.
So if he made $3,000 that month, which is $100 a day in profit, he would lose $500 in benefit because you're not allowed to just make a limited amount of money if you retire at 62. I think it goes away at 70, but at 62, you can only make a certain amount of money. And if you go over,
It'd be a minimum.
penalize you. So
Yeah.
that's another thing.
Yeah. Keep your enemies closer. If you have a look at his video, Social Security update, if you just go slowly through it, once he gets back into the van with the mail in his hands, the second letter that he opens clearly shows the post office box of the Social Security office in Baltimore, Maryland, where that letter came from, if that's any help to you. So I would be sending a letter off to that post office box in Baltimore, Maryland, to the Social Security Department saying, oh, by the way, did you know he's got an unregistered YouTube channel in the Philippines where he boasts that he's making hundreds of thousands of pesos a month in AdSense office, but also go to his playlist on that YouTube channel where he talks in the millions of pesos of his earnings in the Philippines while he's been doing different businesses. And also go to the videos where he shows you doing late night cash deals in car parks outside takeaway joints. I'm sure that the SS at Baltimore, Maryland, who sent him those letters under that box number that you can clearly see, will be interested. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about, look, I'm not American and I don't receive American Social Security. I do receive American taxation documents, though, from my channel. And you all know this is true because I will show them to you. I post them on the internet for everybody to see because my channel is registered. My channel is wholly legit with the Google and YouTube authorities and the American Tax Department. Every time I get the tax document, and I don't claim back. I don't know if you get rebates back on your tax. Here you get rebates back. I just throw them in the bin. I know that I'm entitled to get money back in tax and all that sort of stuff, but I don't because it's 30, 40. I mean, it's pathetic. But I do the right thing. Boshol doesn't. He's not registered for tax. He doesn't pay any tax in the United States, which he's legally entitled to do on all the money that he says he earns. He's never paid a single fucking cent in tax, and that's why he got that letter, because we have been hounding the Philippines tax department, hundreds of fucking emails and letters. And finally, now, Manila, if you go and have a look, ladies and gentlemen, BRI, which is the Bureau of, BIR, which is the Bureau of Internal Revenue, they now have a hit list on foreign vloggers. And I can tell you now that Terence Martin Flannery is named on that list. All you got to do is go to Bureau of Internal Revenue, the official Philippines government website, and you will see they're calling it poverty porn. These arsehole foreigners who go to the Philippines and are using videos to rake money in off poor Filipinos. And there's plenty of them doing it. Plenty of them doing it. They're cracking down on it. So Brian Smith, the first letter he holds up, and it's got numbers written all over it in pen and ink, in handwriting, and you'll see it. But have a look at, what was it? What did I say? 10 minutes and 20 seconds. And you'll see how it says that this form is to pay taxes. And if you don't owe any taxes, ignore this form. Well, they're only sending it to him because they've obviously realized he owes taxes. So, Mr. Keep Your Enemies Closer, go to 10 minutes and 20 seconds. See the next letter. That's the first letter. That was a Philippines letter from Philippines BIR. The next letter, it shows you the PO box number of the Social Security Office in Baltimore, Maryland, where that letter came from. So I would be sending my complaint to them. I'd write it out and I'd send it to that PO box number. I'd say, this is a link to his YouTube channel. Go and have a look where he quotes millions and millions of pesos in the earnings that he's earned, but he's not registered for tax in the Philippines or in the United States, which he's required to do so by law. He's taking money off Google, which is an American entity. He's not paying tax on it. So keep your enemies closer. If you're going to report him to SS, he's got outstanding taxes in the Philippines. He's got outstanding taxes in the United States. He's got outstanding warrants in Chico, California for failing to appear in court. So there you go. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying that if you're going to do something, well, there's some information you can include. He's in a heap of shit if he makes $1. Well, he is. He's making money. Over the last 7 years, the income that he's had off YouTube and the income that he's had off all these ventures in the Philippines is taxable in the United States. And he's not registered for tax in the United States. He doesn't have a TFN, a tax file number, in the Philippines. That's why he got the business put into Maricel's name. If he'd have tried to claim that business in his name, any fool can open a restaurant. You know, it's not like owning land. You can't own land in your own name, but you can open a business in your own name. And the reason he didn't do it and put it in Maricel's name was because he'd have to submit identity documents that would show that he has, and once they checked on it, it would show that he has arrest warrants in Chico, and they would arrest him and throw him out of the country. Now, Michael and Ernesto, I have to, I've got something to do. If you can give me a couple of minutes, I will be back in a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
How long have we been on this? Oh, just under 2 hours.
All right. We'll see you later. Keep your enemy closer. Thanks for joining our live stream and contributing.
Anyone remember when Hogg was getting money via Western Union and he got banned from the local office because he's receiving so much? All goes.
I'm real sorry, folks. When it comes on, oh shit it. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. It's because I get so passionate and I get so, I just run out of breath real quick when I get excited. I apologise about that. But I must admit, since going back on tomorrow's my last day on the steroids. I'm still got about 2 days on the antibiotics, but I am better than what I was last week. But I don't know. Oh, the only message I can say to everybody out there is don't smoke. You know, I look back at the ads that were on TV from Yul Brynner. Remember Yul Brynner, the actor who played Chris in The Magnificent Seven and was the evil gunman in Westworld, or the king and I. He was the king. Yul Brynner, don't smoke. And this is what smoking does to you. And I can tell you, I wouldn't wish this on Stacey Dixon. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, to be not able to breathe. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so grateful to Ernesto today for giving me the opportunity to prove that hypocrites don't prosper. You know, the fool has now gone on live with the only ally he's got, another complete, utter, total imbecile, to sit there talking shit about me. Again, making ridiculously idiotic claims with no evidence whatsoever, with nothing to back them up, just sitting there wanking themselves stupid while drinking themselves stupid. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Granville Smith has created a complete hayseed channel of utter hicks to earn money off. And he doesn't realize, I mean, when is he going to realize how much damage he's doing into himself? Each time he allows these fools to come on and stir their shit, people are becoming aware of it. And that is why he is paranoid. He is absolutely paranoid, ladies and gentlemen, about anybody connecting his videos to the restaurant. Everybody says, keep making a separate video about the restaurant. No, I'm not going to do that to promote the restaurant, because then they'd see the other thing and they'd realise we're not going near this fool like a barge pole. But people don't want to go near him now. He stinks. We've seen that on a number of occasions where people in a restaurant don't want to go too close to him. The stale, foul cigarette breath that he breathes over everybody, his body odour, when you get within 6 feet of him, nobody wants to be around him. I've heard other American vloggers say that they walked in there and the place stinks of foul, stale, horrible, old tobacco smoke while he's standing there chain smoking, fat, dirty, unshaven slob, trying to convince his customers that he's a success when there's nobody in the joint. I mean, the guy is just yeah. But he allows this fool from Arkansas to come on and make these false statements about myself and my family being criminals. And like I say, we have now shut that down. And if he continues to do that, it will just go to show everybody that watches his channel What a complete and utter total loser he really is. What a complete and utter total asswipe he totally is. What a low character, shit-faced prick he really is, if he continues to allow this to continue. Only so he can get views, because my name and the filth that they say about my name, which is completely untrue, brings him. How sad, how pathetic, what a loser, 62 years of age. And the only way you can make any money is to allow some idiot moron from Arkansas to spout bullshit on his live stream about my wife. What a sad, pathetic, hopeless loser Brian Granville Smith really is. And the fools that he allows to come on there and continue it. Whereas we can turn around and we can show you, ladies and gentlemen, as we have done today, 100%, fully, factually, properly presented, in documented form on the courts for you all to see. You've all seen it. And we will post those documents on expat forums. They're documents of public record. But we can prove that, no, it's not me and my family that are criminals at all. Where is their proof? Where is their evidence? Why aren't we in jail? Centrelink Australia, who pay out the carers payment, they've been claiming this for month after month after month. They've been making complaints. They are stupid enough to actually ring them up and say this. Because of the stupid things, I actually got information to this. And when I explained the situation, I says, here, look at this. Look at these numpties. They couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. 2 coppers came round to my place to laugh themselves silly and sit there and pat me on the back, laughing and having a joke about some wanker complaining that I was brewing beer, which has been legal in Australia for hundreds of years, ever since the first ship landed, for fuck's sake. This is how dumb these hicks are. They know nothing. Bit of sensationalism, bit of fucking bullshit. Brian Granville Smith has been allowing this bullshit on his pathetic, disgusting fucking channel since he came back, because that's all he's got. He's got nothing of his own. The same tired e-begging. That's all he's got, the same tired e-begging. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, if I want something, if I go out and buy something, it's like I say, like my beer. Remember when I first got my beer, I didn't say to you, oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'd really like to brew home brew, but I can't afford it because the kit costs blah, blah, blah. I didn't say it like that. I just came home. I showed you the kit. I said, look, I've been up to Bellin today. I bought this kit. It's home brew. I'm going to make my beer. Here's the receipt. Brian Smith, he begs for it. He says, the way Brian Smith would do it was, well, I'd really like to make home brew at home, but I can't afford it. It costs too much. Waiting for someone to send him the money. I don't. I just go out and buy it and show you. Here it is. Then I went back and I bought the bottle tree. I'll show you what a bottle tree is, ladies and gentlemen. Look up behind me. This is a bottle tree. What you do, I've got the plastic bags on to keep it clean. You wash your bottles, and then it's like a Christmas tree, but you're on these little green things here, you put the bottle upside down like that, and it holds 83 bottles. So once you wash them, you just put them on there, and it lets the bottles drip dry, so they're all nice and clean and sanitized. So I bought that one. That was 130 odd bucks. You know, that's the bottle tree. I went up there special to get that. But did I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, now I bought the kit, I'd really like the bottle tree, but I can't afford it? No, I just went and bought it. I don't tell you I need to get this, I need to get that. Everything that this guy does, before he gets it, he tells you. Before he gets it and gives you the price. I never do that. I just go out and buy it, and then I'll say, here it is. But when I went out and bought the fridge for Ray, my mate round the road there, you know, $490 off Andu, Australia, delivered. I didn't say, look, I'd really like to buy a fridge for my mate round the corner there because he's, you know, doing it tough. I just went out and bought it for him. But Brian Smith has to let you know in advance of everything that he plans to get, hoping that you'll donate money to it. What does it? Okay, today on his live stream, he said, I have to go and get a new phone. I wouldn't do that, ladies and gentlemen. I'd just come on and say, oh, well, I've got a new phone. Here it is. I went down to so-and-so. I bought this new phone today because the old one was crap, but not Brian Smith. No. He's got to tell you about it first. He's got to e-beg for it first and let you know that he needs a new phone. Well, GD doesn't do that. GD just goes and buys it and shows you. My hat. Yeah, my old hat was getting really tattered and I mean, it's 5 years old. It was getting really rugged. Did I say to you, oh, ladies and gentlemen, look, I've got to go out and buy a hat, but the Cobras are really expensive. They're $350. I got a $30 discount off. I only paid $320. This, I think I showed you the receipt. Well, here's the receipt here. Here's the receipt here. $320 for my Cobra. There you go. The nice young lady there, Kerry, because I bought a whole lot of stuff over the years, she gave me a $30 discount. I just came home and showed you my new hat. I didn't come on a video earlier and say, oh, look, I need a new hat, but I can't afford it. No, because I don't do that. But Brian Smith, every video, there's nothing that he does that he doesn't tell you first and exactly how much it costs. I mean, I just come and show you, well, this is what I got and this is how much it costs. 9 times out of 10, I don't even tell it. The only reason I'm doing it is because he's so fixated on money and telling you I'm getting into the habit myself. And it's not me. I'm not a penny pincher. I'm not a miser. I'm not like that. But Boss Hog has got me to that stage. Hey, did I tell you that I went down to the grocery store today and I spent $50 on groceries? But he would. It's insane. But ladies and gentlemen, listen, you now know that for all the times that Stacey Dixon has been on Boss Hog's live stream with Boss Hog's permission, with his egging on, with his encouragement, telling a pack of lies about me and my Asawa, the whole time it's him and his family that are the convicted criminals, the jailbirds, and the court attendants. Not me, not my wife. Yet Brian Smith, he must be sitting there thinking to himself, oh, my fucking Christ, I am now looking like the dumbest bastard under the sun. Well, I'm sorry, Brian, you always were. You always were to put up with that fool. How long ago did you turn around and tell your audience you're a dimwit, you're a fucking idiot, I've got no time for you, get rid of him? And then you brought him back because he had his channel stupid enough to be led and do what he's doing. He's looking like a fool. He's sitting there right now with the likes of Van Turner, the only ally he's got, talking utter crap. Jesus, Brian, you're surrounded. The IQ man of 160, you're talking Wall Street, he's talking, I'm the big man of the Philippines. I can influence immigration officials to black man people. I'm doing big meetings with government people for $500 billion worth of property deals. And the only thing he's got to back him up is a complete and utter total fucking imbecile farmhand from Arkansas. Jesus, Brian, I bet you're feeling real smart right now. You loser. You died in the wall, 100% utter and total loser. Brian Granville Smith of Talibon Bohol, the not owner, just the illegal worker, because he doesn't have a 9G visa to work in the Philippines in a restaurant that isn't his, that's not making any money, and he's king of the empty tables, utter loser, on the run from arrest warrants in Chico, California, in the Philippines, because he's a loser. And only losers, what do they get for backup? Idiots like a 10-year-old mental midget from some hayseed farm in Arkansas. Jesus Christ, Smith, you must be feeling real fucking lost right now. You moron. And I don't think I've got anything else to add, folks. We've proved our point. We've said our stuff. But the fact that he has lied to his audience about Charlie getting paid through Maricel, you can check this up with Social Security yourself. All you got to do is punch it into Google. Do it right now. Can a non-US citizen collect social welfare in the name of a US child in a foreign bank account overseas? And it will tell you no. The only way that can happen is if the person, the father of the wife and the child is dead and they were dependent on them at the time. And the second qualification for that as if she lived in the United States for 5 years or longer. But that prick sits in his truck after opening this letter and tells you that bullshit story. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I just cannot fathom how anybody can follow a guy that treats his viewers and his subscribers like utter morons. The bullshit, it just rolls out of his mouth. It just rolls out of his mouth to impress you, and it's bullshit. He's not getting any money. Charlie's not getting any money. She's not lived in America for 5 years, and he's not dead. And the only other way they can do that is to declare him disabled, whether that's physically or mentally. Well, the fact is he's not physically disabled, he's mentally disabled. So if they sent documents over there to say he's a because that's what he is, we all know it. And don't get stuck into me for saying it. The truth is the truth. And if you don't like the truth, tune out, piss off, go somewhere else. But if they want to say their shit about me, I'm not going to hold back saying my shit about them. And anybody who wants to condemn me for that, fuck you. That's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Ernesto, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Hey,
if you could email me, if you could email me those documents, I'll make sure they're posted on Expats Forums, mate.
Okay, I'm gonna show you where to find them online. That way, you can just print them all off, or you can download them. It'll be much easier.
Okay, can you do that in an email?
Yeah, I can tell you how to find it. All of that. Yeah, no problem.
And look, in the meantime, I was going to ask you if you could come up on anything to do with Van Turner. I don't know his birthday, and he's too cowardly to let us know. He's a big man that's going to go around beating everybody up and ripping everybody limb from limb. He's a big hero sitting there now, telling everybody what a great big fucking tough guy he is. But you have to go and hunt him down if you want to fight him.
If you can give me a name and birth date, and Van might not be his full name. It might be.
Of course it's not. Yeah.
So
the same as
it really depends on the information, how good the information is that you give me. But usually a birth date and a proper name is enough.
Well, he's saying today that the idiot of all time, the biggest idiot and wanker that Smith has ever had on his channels is Andy or MacTan bullshit, who's a complete and utter total phantom. One of the worst wankers that ever hit the Philippines, internet, is going to be starting to do live streams at the end of the month. Well, anybody who can, like I say, it's an open invitation. Anybody who can identify that man and his whereabouts, 50,000 Filipino pesos will be in your bank the next day. I swear to God. Anybody who can identify that man, his true name and his actual whereabouts where he can be found, 50,000 Filipino pesos, and that, ladies and gentlemen, at the moment is approximately $1,000 US. Anybody who wants that money is contact me with his actual identity, his name, and where he can be found to be living, domiciled, resident. You'll receive roughly the equivalent of $1,000 in your bank the same day. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you for everybody to coming in today. Michael, for getting out of bed at that time of the morning.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it, mate. You look after me. I feel guilty. I get you. Now, Vanessa's pointing out something here. Now, lady, for everybody out there, for you who don't know who Vanessa is a very serious young lady. She's Filipina. She doesn't live in the Philippines. She's got a job that none of you would believe that a Filipina could get. She is so highly educated and so highly skilled in her field, which is a field that not many people get into because it is a very, very high field of accomplishment. She's an amazing lady. I'm grateful to her. And she is an administrator for Expats Forums. There you go. So Vanessa to be able to say, what about the anti-dummy laws? Vanessa knows stuff. Vanessa is not the kind of person to talk without being completely aware of what she's talking about. You're very smart, switch on lady. And like I've told you before, ladies and gentlemen, with Marisol owning that restaurant in her name. The foreign negative investment rules are clear. You cannot hire a foreigner to work in a Filipino business if there is a Filipino available to do that work. Are you telling me that there's not one Filipino on the island of Bohol that can make a pizza or flip a burger? But here's the other thing. He also doesn't have a 9G work visa. Marisol is breaking the anti-dummy laws of the Philippines. We have reported this time and time again, but we're not Filipinos. If a Filipino reported this, he'd be locked up tomorrow, and so would she. She'd be up for a 5 million peso, 200,000 peso fine and 5 years in jail. The corruption in Bohol, at Bohol Municipal Hall, is beyond ridiculous. The amount of fucking brown paper bags that are being sent there every day for so many different reasons from so many different people is phenomenal. The graft and corruption in Talibon Municipal Hall is beyond ridiculous. I have been there in person. I've reported this a number of times. I've seen department heads. I've seen the mayor's secretary. I've made them aware of what's going on. They've all agreed with me. Nothing has happened. The corruption is rife. Talibon Municipal Hall and Talibon PMP are rotten to the core. And if they don't like it, I will take them straight to Malacanang Palace, to an investigator up there, and I'll prove it. They are rotten to the core. Corrupt, taking bribes, on the take, the whole lot of them. Rotten to the core. And if they don't like that, I don't care, because it's the truth. And I've got nothing to worry about, because when you tell the truth, nothing happens. Brian Smith is existing because he's in the middle of a viper's nest of corrupt, lazy bastards, as he says in his own words, too useless to get off their ass and do their jobs. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a fact. But Vanessa is a very smart woman. She knows exactly what she's talking about. And if she says that anti-dummy laws are in play here, then you can take it to the bank. Anti-dummy laws are in play here, because everything's in Marisol's name, because he couldn't get it in his name, because they would have found out who he is and they would have kicked him out for his warrants overseas. And because he doesn't have a 9G work visa, and because there are plenty of people on Talibon who can do that job, he's taking away employment from a Filipino. She's breaking the anti-dummy laws. And why they're not doing anything about it? Well, it's obvious. They're corrupt. They're being paid off. There's no other way about it. There's no other way about it. Talibon Municipal Hall, Mayor Garcia and everybody under her is corrupt. They're cheats. They're not doing the job they were elected to. They should all be fired. They should all be prosecuted. They should all be banned from public service. Mayor Garcia of Talibon, I state here and now on this live stream at 3:17 p.m. New South Wales time, you are corrupt. You're a slob and a loser. You shouldn't have your job, and you should be in prison. And go ahead, send this to her. What's she going to do? Nothing. You won't hear a word, because it's the truth. Because it's the truth. And you won't hear a word. What can she say? Nothing. She can't complain. She can't do anything, because it's the truth. And if it wasn't the truth, Brian Granville Smith would have been deported a year ago, 2 years ago. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate your time. Ernesto, email me that, and I'll get that put up onto, or email me how to do it, and I'll get that put up onto Expats Forums. Michael, again, thanks for coming out in the morning. You know what to do tomorrow. Keep your eye on the messages and on WhatsApp for the information I'm going to send you, Michael. Don't forget. And
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you next time.
Let me just sign off here. Thanks again, Michael, for waking up and handling the chat and participating. Everyone else in the chat, thank you for participating, and we'll see you the next time.
Yeah,
Take care,
I'll just go through the comment. It's been a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to point out that we can actually produce proof of who's a criminal and who isn't, and all they can do is sit there talking shit on a live stream while drinking Red Horse. That's all they can do. They can't produce a single scrap to back up anything that they've been saying month after month after month. All they can do is sit there wanking themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. We will catch you next time. Siggy, siggy, ooh, ooh. And don't forget, we'll catch you next time. Bye now.